Yo, it's Trent. Hope everyone's having a good day, good week. Thursday, we're close to Friday. We are fucking close, man. Sorry for the later video. Woke up late, Well, actually, I stayed up all night, and then I slept till like now. But today we got the Acid Adventure. That's what I'm calling it, because this was one of like 3 trips I did alone, and I actually did not have a bad trip, but it did go pretty sideways. It was a little crazy, but let me talk about it, right? So the last acid story I told, right, was the one when it was my friend's birthday and he took shrooms and the rest of us took acid. Well, timeline wise, that was the time before. Like, that was the last time I took acid, right? And I didn't have the greatest time, or I was stressed out a little bit, right? So I was like, I'm gonna take a break when I was really into it, right? So like a month or 2 goes by, right? And I remember this clear as fucking day. And I was sitting in my room and I wanted to get high. I wanted to smoke, right? And usually I have carts and shit, so I start looking and I can't find shit. And I'm like, okay, let me do the crackhead shit and try to find some bud. So I'm laying on my fucking carpet with the flashlight, just trying to find any bud. And I'm in my head, I'm like, I know I spilled a bowl like 2 years ago behind my desk, I'm like, I'll find weed. I'm looking. All of a sudden, I get this strange idea that, hey, instead of looking on the ground, let me look in my like junk drawer things, because I have drawers, but it's not like I have any designated shit for them. I just throw shit in there, that I'm like, I'll never need this again. Or if it, like, birthday cards, shit like that, So I'm looking through their empty carts, and I'm like, oh, let me find something to hit. And I got my flashlight on. I see a little glow, right? I see a little tint of color. And I'm like, what's that? So I kind of take a little pencil thing and pull it over to me, because I was aware if it's acid, I don't want to just be touching it right away, So I'm like, is that a, and it was a mother loving gel tab, baby. An orange gel tab, the squares. I don't know if you guys remember that. They had purple ones too when they had the gel tab. Or I don't know what acid's like now. I don't even support it, but at the time it was the orange gel tabs. It was after the papers, And I found one of those and I'm like, fucking bet. I didn't know how old it was, but I knew it had to be from kind of recently, because I hadn't taken acid forever, you know what I mean? It was kind of a short stint. So I take that bitch. I'm like, fucking bet. I take it, and I'm not even worried about it, right? Because I'm like, I took the one tab here, the one time I had a time, but I was like, 1 tab, I can handle that. I just did more than that the last time. Like, I'll be fine, So I'm sitting in my room, and it was about, let me think when I took it. It was probably like 4 or 5 p.m., so I stopped tripping around like 4 or 5 a.m., 6 a.m., and then I could sleep, kind of like what I did today, just no acid involved, But, yeah, it started hitting me quick. I remember that. I remember thinking that it was going to be weaker than it should have been, because it was sitting in the desk for a while. But that bitch kicked my ass, like, pretty quick. Like, 30 minutes, I was starting to get visuals. Usually that's like a 45-minute to an hour thing. I'm looking at my wall and it's like fucking floating. And you see, I got this shit up just for like this, but the other side of my room's got a bunch of shit too. And I drew all over my door and got all these stickers and like the vape stickers, you know what I mean? So I'm looking at all that shit and it's starting to move and I'm like, damn, that's quick, So maybe an hour or 2 goes by, and literally the only thing I did in that time, I didn't even leave my room. I just listened to Juice. I listened to Juice WRLD for like 2 fucking hours, and it was his older songs, I just listened to those, got me in a good place mentally, and I felt good, and I felt trippy, and it was probably getting close to hours, like 2.5 to 3, but before the peak. And I was like, well, if I'm gonna go outside at all, I want to do this shit before I'm like tripping balls, So there's a park that's like 5 minutes away from my house. I'm like, hey, I'll walk down there. I'll stay there for like 10, 20 minutes and then I'll walk back. But I just wanted a little, I don't know, fresh out. I'm tripping. I wanted to go experience the world, but be safe. You know what I mean? So I walk down to this park, and I'm going down this side road. And what's the first car that goes by me? You think a fucking police officer. Not even, not one of the skinny cops, either the fucking SUV cops. And I'm like, fuck, that's a good sign for the heart. So I get to that park, and I don't know if it was, well, it wasn't winter yet, so I don't know why it was getting darker. Maybe it was later than I actually thought it was, but it was starting to get dark, right? And I stayed there a little too long, I'd say, because I was on the swings listening to more music, but I think I was switching between juice and whatever. And I'm on this swing, and it feels crazy. Like, it feels crazy, like, good. Like, the air hitting my face and just moving. I don't know, it felt fucking sick, right? Well, I started getting kind of overwhelmed, right? And I'm like, oh, I need a water. I don't know how that entered my head. But I was like, I'm going to have a not good trip if I don't have water. I need something to drink, right? I should have just walked home. That's what I should have done. Instead, I'm like, let me walk down to this fucking donut place. This place, fucking shout out Country Donuts, bro. I was like, shit, I'm trying to go there. I know they have drinks and shit. So I walk there. And I sat there for maybe 2 minutes, and anyone that's been in there, or if you're from my town, you know what that is. Maybe not if you're not, but I went in that fucking place. It is so overwhelming. It's just bright, white fluorescent, everything, just bright, loud. I got out of there so fucking quick. I walked out, and I'm like, oh man, that was stressful, you know? And I'm like, kind of like shaking my head. I'm like, oh man. And then I started kind of peeking, and not kind of peeking. I fucking started peeking, because I looked at the road, right? And the road, like, will move like this, and it'll like it can do a separation thing, kind of. But I've never seen these visuals before. It's like someone took mixers, you know? Like, you mix, like, fucking, like, I don't know, fucking ice or cake or, like, fucking mashed potatoes, you know? It looks like someone was doing the, like, electrical fucking mixers into the road. And I was like, whoa, that's fucking crazy, you know? And I'm gonna talk to my friend, see if I gotta clear this up. But I'm pretty sure this is how it all went. I went back to the park, right? And I went to the very top of the fucking, like, little castle thing. And I had my feet up on the edge, but I wasn't, like, in danger, you know? I was just, like, extra elevated. But if you saw a little kid doing it, you'd be like, don't do that, you know? But I was just sitting there, like, hanging out, kind of like, oh. I was doing the Titanic shit, you know? I'm, like, leaning off the edge. I'm, like, going like that and shit. The wind's hitting me. I'm kind of cold, but I was also tripping fucking balls, so it felt good, you know? You trip, you get sweaty, you get nervous. I was getting hit with that cold air. I was like, oh. And I'm sitting there just tripping balls. All of a sudden, I hear, Trent? Trent, is that you? And it's my fucking friend, right? And he's the one that I've been talking about in a few videos. He asked me not to say his name when I'm talking about illegal things, so I won't say it. But I appreciate you picking me up, bro. He called me, or he didn't, I don't think he called me. Like, he called me like this, you know? He's like, Trent. And I didn't recognize him, and he came up, and I was tripping fucking balls. And he's like, what are you doing, bro? And I was like, I'm on acid, you know? That's why I'm doing this fucking whacked out shit. And he was like, yo, I'll drive you home, you know, but we can drive around for a minute first if you want to look at shit, you know, because he's taking stuff a lot too. He understands. He's like, oh, he wants to look at shit, you know. So we, like, drove past Taco Bell. We drove past, like, McDonald's and shit. And doesn't sound entertaining, but for me, tripping balls looking out this window, I was fucking loving it. Hey, see what I did there? McDonald's, I'm loving it. Okay. So, fucking, anyways, the rest of the trip kind of mellowed down. And I went home, and I think I just kind of passed out after that. I was obviously still tripping hard, so I had to ride out the rest of the trip. But honestly, I think I just did what I did at the start. I think I just laid in my fucking bed and put on juice. That's about the only thing that was keeping me calm when I was tripping around those times. I don't know. I love juice, man. So I'd hear that, and it would just be like, I don't know. It was safe to me. It made me feel safe. But thanks for watching. That's the Acid Adventure. Tomorrow's Friday, so we'll have a story, of course. I'm trying to think, either I'll do a fight story or I'll do another drug story. I'll do one of those two, all right. But I think it might be a fight story, because I got a few of those that I think will be good. So check that out. Thanks for watching, and be safe. Have a good day. Don't take drugs.